Howdy viewers, how you folks doing? Back with another very recent acquisition of mine. A very favorite fan of mine, very nostalgic, probably the most nostalgic fan to me in my collection. Yeah, this was, I just found this almost 2 hours ago, and really clean, and I'm really glad to have found one of these variations of Galaxy 3723s. This is the beige cabinet, late 80s model. I'll get to the date on the bottom of the cabinet here in a minute, but yeah, I'm just really excited to find one of these. Finding this fan, I'll tell you, turned my day around for sure. Yeah, stopped by my favorite store here local in town, and it was, just one of them instances where, surprise for the effort, I guess. Yeah, so got its original handle, got it for $1 off of $3.99, so yeah, paid $2.99 plus tax for this fan. And the best part about it, the most nostalgic to me, is it's got the plastic housed Marco motor. Yeah, my favorite one. I love these motors in particular. I like these. I almost got to say I like these better than the metal house ones, but the metal house ones are just as good. I mean, only thing about these, they have the really cool sounding startup sound, and especially any of the older they get, the more pronounced it is, I guess. And yeah, see, this one has the dual motor brace, which I like. Yeah, this is a really, really nostalgic fan for me. My grandparents had a couple of these when I was very young as a kid. Staying with them, me and my mother were staying with them. They pretty much raised me, and yeah, one of these. It was one of these, and actually I can't say two, because they had one of these with this variant, and the other variant is the other one I already have. It's the 83 to 84 model 3713 with the single motor brace. Yeah, they had one of those, and that fan actually ended up going with us when me and my mom moved out. Not that same fan, obviously, but just the same model. And same thing with this thing. I mean, the same model my grandparents owned, and this one ended up staying with them. But I remember, yeah, this is one of the fans I used to just kind of toy with as a kid. Really kind of got me started my box fan enthusiasm, I guess you could say. This and of course the Dominion. Yeah, I mean, nothing real special here with these. I mean, it is to me, but I mean, as for other fellow collectors, I mean, they either have one of these or have had one of these. These are pretty common, and apparently they still are, but been seeing less and less of them, especially. This is just a fan I've been really wanting to find, really wanting to own another one of these. Sadly, the one that my grandparents had, I ended up quit working on them, and they just kind of trashed it back in the 90s, I guess, when I was still in grade school. But yeah, this one is very clean. It was initially, when I got it, it was really clean. The only thing it needed was desperately needed some oil in the motor, because I tried it out at the store, and on high speed, the blades turned, thankfully, but they were very sluggish, and it was kind of whining. It was making a really cool sound these make, but it was, you can tell it was, I mean, you could not run like that for long. Yeah, it's got its original handle. I don't know if I already mentioned that, and it's got the 3-speed. It's the Galaxy side of it. Pretty clean. There's no dents or not many scratches on this. The paint's in great shape. I've always liked that beige cabinet. I like these ones, honestly, more than the gray and white ones that were in the early 90s, but both of them are, really good fans. Both are pretty nostalgic to me. Seen a lot of these around growing up. I mean, not other than the ones that we owned. I mean, these were just everywhere. Yeah. Starting to see less and less of them nowadays. Here's the plug to it. Now this one's interesting. It's got that design on the plug which I vaguely remember. I think the ones that the one that my grandparents owned had the older style plug with the not this didn't have this kind of layout. It had just the I don't even know how you'd explain the symbol on it, but it had like a different symbol. It was like the 80s cord, and this one looks like it's more or less more like the 90s style, but it is non-polarized, which is surprising to me even. Yeah, really cool. And yeah, I don't know if you notice, all of the grill slats are intact. There is not a single missing one. None of them are broken even. It is just yeah, really really lucky to find one of these and to find this in such good shape. I mean, it just amazes me. This will definitely be a fan that I never let go of. This is a permanent, one of the many permanent fixtures in my collection. It did have one of its feet with it, but sadly when I put it in the truck, it kind of, at a stoplight, I had to slam on the brakes because idiot drivers on the way home, and I heard something crack on the bottom of it, and it ended up being its own one and only feet that it had, or foot that it had, I should say. So it doesn't have that foot anymore, but really it doesn't. I don't really run my box fans on the floor much. I mean, the older, heavier ones, occasionally I'll run on the floor and set them on the carpet because they'll stay up no problem. But even these are kind of wide enough to where they can, on most carpet surfaces, as long as your carpet's not too plush, I guess these will have no issues running on the ground. But yeah. Alright, got it plugged up to the watt to kilometer here, so go ahead and switch it to the amp draw. And turn to my favorite station. Here's high. Oh yeah, these are definitely hit the spot for sure. These are great air moving fans right here. These circulate a ton of air. And pretty much running up the spec. I mean, pretty healthy motor. The average for these, 151 watts. A great fan. I mean, I'm just so glad to finally find one of these. These were I was on the hunt for one of these for a long time, pretty much all this past spring and summer. And yeah, it's just cool. Medium. Problem with the switch, you might hear it sounds like it's kind of sticking, but someone, I guess one of the little plastic tabs broke and someone shot a little self-tapper or something in there to hold it, which, you know, I get that, you know, I guess it doesn't really affect it at all. It just kind of gives it that loud click sound when you switch it, which, yeah. 204 watts. Low speed. Yeah, so very healthy Marco motor here. I have been, before this video I was running this fan. It's ran for about half an hour before making this video, so I know it's definitely warmed up by now. Like I said, I gave it a good oiling. That's literally all I had to do to this fan, was take both guards off, take the blades off, and oil it. You know, my typical. My socket set just fell, so off. Yeah, spin down time's definitely improved since I got home with it. Before, it would, when I turned it off from trying it initially, it would quickly stop. So, you know, definitely help this fan's motor by oiling it. And yeah, I'm definitely glad to have. Oh yeah, one last thing on this. Let's flip it on its side real quick. Information. Okay, this is a 89 to 90. Yep, 120 volts, 2.2 amps. Style SLSS Type 1. So, yeah. Really a clean fan. Definitely pleased to add it to my collection, as I mentioned earlier. And I'll go ahead and get some startup sounds on here. On high. Start up on high speed first. The medium. Oh, I love that. I love that tone of that startup on these. And finally, the low. It's not quite as loud as the ones that have the single motor mount, because it kind of reverberates throughout the cabinet and all that. Like my 83 to 84 one actually hits the real good notes on the startup. But nonetheless, this one's appearance is just equally as nice. So yeah, the windings are in good shape, and definitely a good find of the day. Glad to have it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.